Back in 2000, Al Gore and George W. Bush, both vying to become president, appeared at the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner, known for its barbs and political wit. Here's how Bush addressed the wealthy donors at that event.
This is an impressive crowd, the haves and the have-mores. Some people call you the elite. I call you my base.
Oh, and how the rich folks laughed and laughed and laughed. Some critics gave Bush a hard time for the joke, but alas, rich people problems. But by 2012, things had changed a bit on the campaign trail. During the 2012 presidential race, Mother Jones obtained video of a private fundraiser for Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney. Romney told a small group of wealthy contributors that what he truly thought of the poors who supported his opponent, President Obama.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. That it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them.
How dare they want health care and food and housing? The tape caused an uproar and likely played a role in his defeat. A little innocent, however, compared to Donald Trump, who reportedly told his friends, quote, "You all just got a little richer," when referring to the massive tax cut for the rich and for corporations that he signed into law as president. I'm joined now by Stephanie Ruhle, anchor of MSNBC's The 11th Hour. So we've talked about this a bunch, you and I, as we sat during the specials and we kiki on the side. I want to bring those conversations to the public. I mean, this really is, I think, the clearest example of the wealthy attempting to buy the White House. What do you think?
Not just the wealthy, the wealthiest. And they can. Remember, people understand, especially the richest of the rich, that Donald Trump is transactional. He keeps score of who stands with him. And right now, he's at the bottom. He's at a low point. So when you're looking at where he is, whether you're talking about Sheldon Adelson's widow or Nelson Peltz or Steve Schwartzman or John Paulson or Bill Ackman, they know that Donald Trump needs a positive headline. They know that they are the group of people, the quote-unquote ruling class, whose affirmation, whose support he has always been desperate for. So standing with Donald Trump now, what does that give you? A free pass, a get-out-of-jail-free card when and if he's the next president. And here's what's important for us to clarify. Now, lots of them are saying things like, it's immigration that matters to me most. It's inflation. It's Israel. Well, let's break that down. If it's immigration, President Biden tried to pass bipartisan bill that mostly Republicans put together, and it was Donald Trump who blocked it. Joe Biden said yesterday he's planning to make a move to shut down the border. President Trump, former President Trump, isn't doing that. If it's inflation, which is a problem, Donald Trump has not offered one single policy solution that would curb inflation. And last thing, if it's Israel, last I checked, globalists, which Trump campaign has talked about over and over again, Charlottesville, or what did they recently say in a campaign post? The United Reich? None of those things are in support of the Jewish community. So what is this really about? It's about extending those corporate tax cuts, ensuring that there isn't President Biden's proposed billionaire tax, and making sure deregulation is headed their way. So to my last point, Miriam Adelson, that this is all about Israel, make no mistake. How does the Adelson family make all that money? Gaming, one of the most highly regulated industries in this country. If you ran one of the biggest gaming operations, wouldn't you love a direct call to the White House to make sure you've got no regulation standing in your way? And wouldn't they love to pay for that free pass? And they can.
Right. And they also, I think they own the Dallas Mavericks. So you're right. They absolutely have money on the table. And if you think about it, to the point you're making, Joe Biden has been trying to do something about inflation. Let me give you a couple of examples. Number one, over the last 4 years, the Justice Department and these high rents that people are complaining about. Over the last 4 years, rents have skyrocketed by an average of over 30% nationwide, and a major factor in our inflation rate. There are a variety of factors behind the increase, including an overall housing shortage. But the Department of Justice is now investigating another potential cause, a massive criminal conspiracy among large landlords. The investigation is looking into a scheme among many corporate landlords to artificially increase rents. You've got Ticketmaster. The Biden administration going after Ticketmaster and filed a lawsuit to break up Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation Entertainment, accusing it of operating an illegal monopoly. I could go on, but you also have President Biden personally going after grocery chains and Walmart and others and saying you need to lower your prices because they're artificially high, and some of them are actually doing it. So if those are the issues people care about, Biden's actually addressing them. Trump is just saying, no, give me money, I'll give you oil leases.
And guess what, Joy? That works. It was just a few weeks ago that Trump had a meeting with Harold Hamm and other oil execs where he laid out, you give me $1 billion and I'll give you whatever you want. If you're running a giant oil company, that's worth a lot of money to you. So the American people should pay attention to what former President Trump is offering these people, because they already have ultimate wealth. Now they're in a position where they could be buying ultimate power.
Right. And the thing is, I think what people don't understand, I mean, this New Yorker article essentially says that Miriam Adelson's husband, Sheldon Adelson, the late Sheldon Adelson, already played this game during the first administration. When it comes to Israel, he said, move the embassy. Trump said, how much money are you going to give me? Trump got the money and they moved the embassy. This has been policy, the opposite of U.S. policy through every administration, no matter how pro-Israel they've been. But he got it moved because he had money. Citizens United fundamentally, to me, changed the calculus for the wealthy. Now they can essentially say, I will give you this amount of money for these policies. That gets around our democracy, because if an administration is willing to literally change policy for cash, that's no longer a democracy, it's an oligarchy.
You are 100% right, but it's also absurd to think that President Biden hasn't been pro-Israel. He has been so pro-Israel that it has cost him some support from some progressives, right? Let's not forget that. What this isn't any big, wealthy GOP donors looking for one specific thing. What they want is a get-out-of-jail-free card for anything they could potentially want in the next 4 years. And former President Trump has made it clear that's on offer.
And the thing is that at the same time, you have Donald Trump representing himself as a populist. What's in this agenda for the regular average person who somehow thinks they're going to get paid? And I do not want to hear another person say to me stimmies, because the stimmies were because of COVID. You are not getting a stimmy, y'all. He is not just going to send black people checks because he likes black people. He doesn't like black people. That's not the plan.
And let's remember whose actual idea it was, who led the effort on the stimulus checks. It was Nancy Pelosi. It was Democrats, and Republicans eventually signed on to it. And if you take huge issue with inflation, one of the reasons we have faced inflation is because of stimulus. It is because the government put so much money into this system. So it's kind of like pick your poison. One of the issues is President Biden does work with business leaders. He does work with corporate America, but the Oval Office does not have an open swinging door that they can parade themselves in at will. That's the difference. It's not that the Biden administration hasn't seen an extraordinary economic recovery. You said it earlier. Look at the stock market breaking record after record. Excuse me. Look at what President Biden has done for electric vehicles. President Trump and the MAGA base hate EVs. Yet it's Elon Musk who is now saying, I'm getting closer to President Trump, who's potentially going to raise money for him. President Trump's policies, in large part, don't align with many of these people. But the fact that they can call him on the phone and get what they want and need in 6 months from now, a year from now, that's a golden ticket, and they're looking for it.
An average voter, y'all can't call. He ain't taking your calls. This is literally government for, by, and only of the super rich, and y'all ain't them. Stephanie Ruhle, always fun, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Great to see you.